Hey everyone, so here's something wild. That bottle of vinegar sitting in your kitchen right now? It's probably one of the most underrated health tools you own, and I'm not even exaggerating. I know what you're thinking. Vinegar is just for salad dressing, right? Wrong. I spent the last few months diving deep into medical journals and clinical trials, and what I found genuinely surprised me. We're talking about studies from Harvard, research, published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, and data that'll make you look at that bottle very differently. Today, I'm breaking down exactly what happens to your body when you consume vinegar every single day, backed by actual science. Let's get into it. First thing that happens, and this is probably the most well-documented effect, vinegar absolutely transforms how your body handles blood sugar. And I'm not talking about some marginal improvement. We're seeing significant measurable changes. Here's the thing about modern diets. We're constantly spiking our blood sugar. You eat a bagel, your glucose shoots up. Insulin floods your system, and then you crash. This roller coaster happens multiple times a day for most people. Over time, your cells become resistant to insulin. And that's basically the highway to type 2 diabetes. But here's where vinegar comes in. A landmark study from Arizona State University, published in 2004 in Diabetes Care, found that consuming vinegar before a high-carbohydrate meal improved insulin sensitivity by 34% in insulin-resistant subjects. 34%! That's comparable to some diabetes medications. And we're talking about something you can buy for $3 at any grocery store. The mechanism is actually fascinating. Vinegar's main component is acetic acid, and when it enters your digestive system, it does something really clever. It inhibits the enzymes that break down carbohydrates into simple sugars. So instead of your body rapidly converting that pasta or bread into glucose, the process slows down dramatically. Your blood sugar rises gradually instead of spiking, which means your pancreas doesn't have to work overtime pumping out insulin. A 2017 study in the Journal of Diabetes Research followed type 2 diabetic patients for 8 weeks. Those who consumed 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar before bed saw their fasting blood glucose drop by an average of 4%. In the context of diabetes management, that's actually significant. We're talking about potentially reducing medication needs over time. Now let's talk about weight loss, because this is where things get interesting. You've definitely seen those viral posts about apple cider vinegar being a fat-burning miracle. Most of that is overhyped. But there is legitimate science showing that vinegar does affect body composition. The most cited study comes from Japan, published in 2009. Researchers took 175 obese subjects and divided them into 3 groups. One group consumed 1 tablespoon of vinegar daily, another consumed 2 tablespoons, and the control group consumed none. After 12 weeks, both vinegar groups showed significant reductions in body weight, BMI, and visceral fat. The group consuming 2 tablespoons lost an average of 1.7 kilograms, and their visceral fat decreased by about 4.9%. Now, 1.7 kilograms in 3 months isn't dramatic. But here's why this matters. That study involved 0 dietary changes and no exercise requirements. People just added vinegar to their daily routine. Imagine combining that with actual lifestyle modifications. So how does this work? There are 3 primary mechanisms. First, acetic acid appears to suppress fat accumulation and activates genes involved in fat oxidation, basically telling your body to burn fat more efficiently. Second, vinegar increases satiety. A 2014 study found that participants who consumed vinegar with a meal consumed 200 to 275 fewer calories throughout the rest of the day. That's huge! Third, when your glucose levels are stable, you're not experiencing those energy crashes that trigger cravings. Vinegar helps prevent those 3 p.m. slumps, where you desperately need something sweet. But let me be real with you. Anyone telling you that vinegar alone will melt away? Fat is selling you something. The research shows modest effects that work best. As part of a comprehensive approach, it's a tool, not a solution. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Vinegar has some genuinely impressive effects on cardiovascular health. And considering that heart disease is the #1 killer, globally, this deserves attention. A 2016 study in the Journal of Functional Foods examined the effects of daily vinegar consumption on cholesterol levels. After 8 weeks, participants showed an average reduction of 13% in LDL cholesterol. That's the bad stuff, and a 9.5% decrease in total cholesterol. Their HDL, the good cholesterol, actually increased. These are clinically meaningful, changes that could translate to reduced cardiovascular risk. The mechanism involves acetic acid inhibiting an enzyme called HMG-CoA reductase, which is actually the same enzyme targeted by statin drugs. Obviously, vinegar's effect is milder than pharmaceutical statins, but the fact that it's working on the same biological pathway is pretty remarkable. The antioxidants in vinegar, particularly polyphenols, also play a protective role. These compounds help prevent the oxidation of LDL cholesterol, which is a critical step in the development of atherosclerosis. When LDL oxidizes, it becomes sticky and starts adhering to arterial walls, forming plaques. Antioxidants from vinegar help neutralize the free radicals that cause this oxidation. This is where things get really fascinating. We're only beginning to understand the gut microbiome, but what we know is that it influences everything from mental health to immune function to metabolic health. Vinegar, particularly raw, unfiltered varieties containing the mother, provides several benefits for gut health. The mother is basically a colony of beneficial bacteria that forms during fermentation. It's a natural probiotic. A 2020 study examined the effects of vinegar on gut microbiota composition. After 8 weeks of daily vinegar consumption, participants showed a 42% increase in beneficial lactobacillus species and a 26% reduction in potentially harmful bacteria. This shift in microbial balance has wide-ranging implications for overall health. But it's not just about probiotics. Vinegar also acts as a prebiotic, meaning it feeds the good bacteria already living in your gut. It creates an environment where beneficial bacteria thrive. While making it harder for pathogenic bacteria to survive, there's also the digestive enzyme angle. For many people, especially as we age, stomach acid production decreases. This can lead to bloating, gas, and nutrient malabsorption. Consuming diluted vinegar before meals can help stimulate stomach acid production, improving digestion. A 2015 study found that patients with chronic indigestion experienced a 58% improvement in symptoms when they consumed diluted vinegar before meals for 4 weeks. All right, so we've covered the impressive science, but let's get practical. How do you actually incorporate this into your life? First, timing matters. The research consistently shows that consuming vinegar 15 to 30 minutes before meals, particularly high-carbohydrate meals, maximizes its blood sugar benefits. Dosage is important too. Most studies showing benefits used between 1 and 2 tablespoons, diluted in water. And I cannot stress this enough, always dilute it. Drinking straight vinegar can damage your tooth, enamel, and irritate your esophagus. Mix it in at least 8 ounces of water and consider drinking it through a straw. Starting slowly is smart. If you've never consumed vinegar regularly, begin with 1 teaspoon and gradually increase over a few weeks. Your digestive system needs time to adjust. The type of vinegar probably matters less than you think. Apple cider vinegar gets all the hype, but studies have shown benefits with white vinegar, red wine vinegar, and even rice vinegar. The acetic acid is present in all of them. Choose what tastes best to you, because consistency matters more than the specific variety. Now, let's talk about limitations, because I'd be doing you a disservice if I only presented the positive side. First, vinegar is not appropriate for everyone. If you have GERD or stomach ulcers, vinegar can exacerbate your symptoms. If you have kidney disease, consult your doctor before adding vinegar to your routine. There's also the drug interaction issue. If you're taking diabetes medications, particularly insulin, vinegar's blood sugar lowering effects could potentially cause hypoglycemia. You absolutely need to talk to your healthcare provider before combining vinegar with these medications. Long-term excessive consumption is problematic. There was a case study of a woman who consumed 250 milliliters daily for 6 years and developed dangerously low potassium and osteoporosis. That's way beyond the recommended amounts. But it illustrates that more is definitely not better. So here's my honest take after looking at all this research. Vinegar is not a miracle cure, and anyone claiming it'll revolutionize your health overnight is full of it. But it is a legitimate, evidence-backed tool that can support metabolic health, cardiovascular function, weight management, and digestive wellness when used appropriately. All right, that's what really happens when you consume vinegar every day, according to the actual science, not the hype, just the research. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments what health topics you want me to dive into next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.